Welcome back to another episode of Get to the Point Tech. Today we're going to be taking a look at a few Ubiquiti Unifi products. If you're not aware of the Ubiquiti Unifi lineup, it's a series of networking equipment that runs on its own proprietary software, but it has been kind of deemed as a little bit of the Apple of the networking world. Here we have the Dream Router 7, a U6 Plus access point, and a Flex Mini switch. Let's do a quick unboxing of these items. I also have a power over Ethernet adapter we could take a quick look at. And we'll get some quick first impressions, and then we'll get into it. Okay, this is mostly what comes in the box. Aside from the router itself and also the power cable, there's a little bit of propaganda, but it's mostly just safety considerations and no other real instructions other than power it on, plug a WAN cable in, and connect it to the mobile app. If we take a look at around the device, we have a screen in front. It's pretty small. I don't really think it's going to be useful for anything other than just feeling good, like it has some sort of moving parts. In the back is where all the business is. It's got the power. You have a micro SD card expansion slot for the purposes of using it for the Unifi Protect app, which is primarily used, actually exclusively used for surveillance cameras and that kind of thing. We have a 10 gig SFP plus WAN port. I actually think this is an interesting thing to include, mostly because with the 10 gig port in, you don't really have a way of utilizing that because none of the other ports are 10 gig. These 4 ports are 2.5 gig. And of course, on the Wi-Fi side, we have 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, and 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi 7. Of course, this icon indicates that you can have either of these be the WAN or both if you'd like redundancy. So in theory, if you had only a gigabit internet connection, you could set that up with this port because it would not saturate your 2.5 gig anyways. And then you could, in theory, connect something on your LAN, whether it's a NAS or otherwise, to your 10 gig in order to facilitate faster internal network speeds. This device itself is actually able to support 300 plus clients, and from a Wi-Fi range perspective, they claim that it can do 1,750 square feet of coverage. I'm going to be putting that to the test. During the unboxing, I also showed you that there is what they call a release tool, and I was wondering what in the world is this used for? I think it's to release the micro SD card from the slot, because it seems to work well for that anyway. So even if that's not what it's for, that's what I'm using it for. And as you can see inside here, we have a Western Digital purple 64 gig micro SD card, which comes shipped with the device itself, which is a nice touch. Probably won't be able to store too much footage on it if you do connect a camera, but this device mostly only can handle a handful of HD cameras and maybe max one 4K camera. So I suppose something is better than nothing here. And purple is actually the correct card category to include. It's meant for surveillance and kind of those kinds of NVR type use cases. Okay, and here we have the U6 Plus. Now I went with the U6 Plus instead of the new Wi-Fi 7 oriented Unifi devices for 2 reasons. 1, this one was on sale for Black Friday. 2, I don't have any Wi-Fi 7 devices in my house at this point in time. It seemed like splurging a little bit extra on a Wi-Fi 7 access point wasn't really worth it at this time. Another point was that the U6 Plus actually has a wider range or a longer range for the kind of 5 gigahertz frequency especially that I care about than the Wi-Fi 7 access points. Right, so the coverage area for the U6 Plus is 140 square meters or 1500 square feet. Whereas with the U7 Lite, the one that I did not buy, it has only a 115 square meter coverage area, which is 1250 square feet. It's probably not a big difference in practice, but there's probably a reason why they've mentioned it as being a smaller range. And I'm not exactly the type of person who's planning on putting an access point in every single one of my rooms, so I wanted to see how far I can get with one access point and the Dream Router in conjunction. What comes in the box is a series of mounting plates and equipment, and there's even a handy-dandy leveling tool attached to this one. This is the template for installation, and also some hardware. Other than that, the access point itself feels really nice. It's got a nice heft to it. I don't know if it's exactly all plastic construction, but I think the back plate is made of metal. Yep, I just confirmed the front is polycarbonate and the back is aluminum. I don't think it'll have any effect on the Wi-Fi frequency or range, but if it does, it's no big deal. I'm planning to mount this on the wall so that it's facing inwards towards the house, and so the backside is not really needing much coverage. Plus, by the nature of the way that these APs are designed, they are meant to be ceiling mounted, optionally wall mounted, and they radiate outwards like this, and so in a circular pattern, and so they're really meant to be used in the center of each floor of a household or in an office building, not so much on one far end. But of course, not every house is designed with this in mind, like mine, and so I'm going to have to make do with what I can get. And on the back, we have the Power over Ethernet in port. It doesn't require a Power over Ethernet Plus. This one is another advantage of the Wi-Fi 6 access points, where some of the higher power Wi-Fi 7 access points require a higher level of voltage that the regular PoE injectors and some routers do not support. Case in point, back onto the Dream Router 7, this icon indicates that this port specifically is able to give power over Ethernet, and specifically it is not of the plus variety or the plus variety. You could see that this only has one lightning port, and here you can see one lightning bolt as well, and so that's how you know that they're compatible. This little adorable guy is the Flex Mini. It is a 4-port gigabit switch with power over Ethernet in, and it comes with LED indicators to indicate the speed of the connection, and is maybe one of the cutest little networking devices I've ever held in my hand. It's powered over either the power over Ethernet or a USB-C adapter that it actually comes with, which is equally as adorable. Whether you use the adapter or the power over Ethernet in, it doesn't really change the fact that it is a 4-port switch, because it needs to have that one that comes in from either the router or a upstream switch. This is definitely smaller than I thought it was going to be. This is going to be able to fit into very tight spaces. So in theory, this is a good starter setup for entering the Unifi ecosystem. Frankly, you don't even really need the switch, because the Dream Router 7 already has an inbuilt switch. But the problem is, if you are like me and are planning to use up one of the LAN ports for your WAN, that means you only have 3 ports left. And so you may actually benefit from having a couple of additional ports, because you can connect them out to here, and then you'll have 4 additional ports plus 2. I have a few unmanaged switches around the house that I may eventually replace with these ones, because in order for you to really take advantage of the Unifi ecosystem, you would have everything Unifi. But I wanted to start off really simply, and I didn't want to overcomplicate my installation. Frankly, you may argue that you don't even need the AP at this point. You can start with just the Dream Router 7 by itself, and then add APs as you go when you are dialing in, dead spots for your Wi-Fi or otherwise. Oh, I almost forgot. We have the Power over Ethernet injector. It doesn't come in as nice a packaging as everything else, but it is also significantly cheaper than everything else, so you can, take what you can get. So what we have over here is a pretty standard PoE injector. It's got a pretty hefty power cable, but it's not very long, so we'll see how that goes. It plugs into here. And then on this side, we've got the actual meat and potatoes. So you have your ability to plug in a regular LAN cord or Ethernet cord on one end, and on the other end, you'll have the same data going through, but with the addition of power over Ethernet. This can be used to power devices like this AP, which do not take power from the AC outlet in your house. Similarly, it can also be used to power switches like this if you chose to, although that would be a little bit weird considering this one comes with a power supply already. This one also comes with the ability to mount this onto a wall. It comes with the mounting plate built right in. So I'm going to put these through their paces. I'll run a bunch of tests on them. I'll do some range tests in comparison to my existing Asus router. I'm going to kind of collect all the data and I will report back on my findings. For now though, I would say if you liked this video, please do like it. It does help the algorithm quite a bit. And if you don't want to miss my follow-up video on how the testing goes, please make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss it. But until next time, I'll say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.